Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to go through this little bag of American 1 cent coins. The reason being, I've had this for so long, and to be honest, I'd forgotten about it. This bag is starting to fall apart where it's been rolling around in a drawer. I bought it a couple of years ago originally to try and boost up my wheat cent penny collection. Now, this little bag itself is full, by the looks of it, I haven't really looked that closely to be honest, of mixed cents, 1 cent coins. So you've got some of the more modern, as it were, shield pennies. You've got the Lincoln Memorial, and let's have a quick scan through. I don't know how many of which I've got in here. There we go. 1 wheat cent. So these started to come out in 1909, and I think the last year was something like 1958 or 1959. So they all have the same obverse, just the reverse that differs. And as you can see, we've got some extremely shiny ones. So these are the shields. So we've got some shiny, some grotty, some normal looking pennies that we would expect to see. So the whole point of getting this bag, like I say, was to get hold of as many wheat cents as I can to build up my little collection. Unfortunately, over time, having forgotten about this little lot, I've gone out and bought loads of others, gone through them. But what I'm going to do today, just to see out of interest what was in here, is go through. I'm going to separate everything out. I'm going to make 3 different piles. So we'll have modern, wheat penny, and Lincolns. We'll have 3 different piles, see what we've got, and go from there. Now, when it comes to these pennies themselves, you're looking for certain key years. Now, I'm not a big American fan of what coin to look out for. I'm a fan of American coins, but I'm not a fan of the varieties, shall we say. So what I'm going to do is plod through, just see what we've got, and probably be as boring as they come. And rather than talking to yourselves, I'm just going to ferret through, see what I can find. And if I come across anything interesting, I'll stop, have a quick look, hit the record button again, and come back to you. But we are looking for, there's a 1909, like I say, the very first year. So there's 2 or 3 versions for that. 2 of them are extremely low mintage. There's a few other key dates, some what they call semi-key dates as well. But what would be nice is to try and get war pennies. So for us here in the UK and Europe, the war is 39 to 45. But obviously for the Americans, it's a little bit of a shorter period. So I'm going to shut up, start ferreting, make up the piles, and I will get back to you in a moment. Well, as you can see, the piles are starting to grow. There's mainly the normal Lincoln pennies. There's quite a few of the more modern ones. I can't remember what year was the first year for the shield type. I'll look that up in a minute. And there's been a few wheat pennies found, so that's always a good sign that there's definitely some in there in the first place. There's another one. That one, yep, another one there as well. So I'll carry on, and I shall be back in a mo. Right, I've just checked some of my facts. The last year the wheat penny was issued, was 1958. After that, that's when the Lincoln Memorial reverse came around. And something I completely forgot about was these coins were copper up until 1982. The last year was 1982. So anything that's dated pre-82, not that one. That's not going to be that one. No, that might be S81, I think. So yeah, they're pure copper. Now, from what I can understand, watching some the American coin collectors, the ones that do this sort of thing for a pastime, they go absolutely potty for it, and they separate the copper from the non-copper as well when it comes to the Lincoln Memorials. I'm not going to go that crazy. I'm crazy enough as it is, if you ask my missus. But just to get the three different types is good enough in my books for now, for the sort of level that I want to go collecting, the American stuff. Now, like I said, I've already got quite a few of these anyway. When I first started collecting coins, I got bags and bags of shrapnel from the UK, from the States, from France, and it was interesting. It really got the bug going. But the American stuff, I'm not going to say it's harder to get hold of. It's just when you get hold of it, sometimes the premium you've got to pay. So if you get it on eBay, even something like a bag of pennies like this, I think this lot cost me about 5 years ago, I think it was about 10, 12 quid. Now people are racking the price up, and what you've seen will probably be nearer 25, 30 quid. Personally, I think it's just crazy. It's not as though they're rare coins. They are still in circulation. It's just that, as usual, they're coins you cannot get in this country. So it's exactly the same with the States. They will happily pay extra for British coins, or any other coin come to that. Most countries would do. But at the moment, I'm just looking at these to see, oops, that was a live, and it was the right pile, to see if the ones that I've not looked at in such a long time actually were worth buying in the first place. They probably were at the time, but now I wouldn't bother, because like I say, my collection is getting there. I haven't got every version, every variety, and so on. Americans also look out for all the varieties to the point of double die errors. So you might have double lettering on the back, or a double date, and there's a date overstamped with the same date, but it's no different to any other coins. But because there's such huge numbers, you will always come across errors, and that's one of the things the Americans like to do. Fair play to them. I would as well, but our coins, we don't have as many, but we do get our own errors. Right, I'll be finishing this lot shortly, so I'll be back in a minute. Right, here we go. We're all done. That's everything accounted for in their own respective piles. So we've got wheat pennies, Lincoln Memorial, and shields. The shields I'm not interested in, unless I can find out there's any errors in there. But I'll put those off to one side. The Lincoln Memorials, again, I'm not overly concerned at the moment. I might have a look through and see what we've got at a later date. So I'll certainly bag these all up separately anyway. He says try and not to contaminate other pile. That's better. Right, so get those out of the way. So the ones we want to look at is this little lot. So I don't know how I'm going to go about this, to be honest. I've not really planned this video out. If we just zoom in, that's better. Have a quick look at the dates, see what we've got. So 1945, 1944, so there's our war pennies straight away. So we've got a 1956 Denver. That's the other thing with the American ones. They've got their little mint marks. So you'll have a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, and if there's no mint mark, treat that as a P for Philadelphia. So that's the 1950s. What we got there? 51. Right, I'm just looking at my little list I've got just off screen. What I'll do, if I just put that on there now, these are the things I'm looking for. So you can see the early 1900s, the dates to look for, they call valuable, and the other ones they say still worth keeping. There's also some varieties to look out for. Now, I don't think we're going to come across them in this bundle because I haven't seen them when I've been sorting them. But that's a 1944 or even a 1943 steel cent, because in 1943 they brought these out as steel coins rather than copper. But then some in bronze like this came out. Those are rare, and they could be worth a few quid. Now, it's highly unlikely I'm going to get one. That's a 45 again. But what we do find is that a 44, if it comes out as steel, there's a 44. This isn't a steel. Steel looks silvery metal rather than bronzy coppery. So you know straight away that that isn't a steel coin. So again, that one would be worth a few bob as well. 1956 again. So what I'm going to do once I'm done with the video recording in 1940 is I'm going to go and have a closer look under my little magnifying glass and see if I can pick out 44D, any of the double dates. I'm not too sure what years are the best to look out for. I have been told in the past 1955. It's what they call a double die obverse. So it's not just the date that looks wrong or some of the writing. The whole lot, from what I understand, is basically where it's been stamped twice, but I can only describe it. It looks like it's been smudged. So it looks not quite crisp. So there's another one for the 40s. Looking at the moment for anything that's nice and early. 1953. See, most of these are fairly common at the moment. 41. Upsy down. 52D. So what I'll do, I'll keep going through this little lot. I'll see if I can find, it'd be nice for a 55. And anything else that might crop up. There you go. There's no mint mark on that one, so that's a Philadelphia. 1957. Yeah, I'll have a look through the rest of these, because it's obviously going to take a while. Ooh, 1925. It's a nice early one. We'll have that off to one side. And yeah, I'll be back in a mo. Right, so a few that I've pulled out. This one, the earliest in there, 1925. Doesn't appear to have a mint mark, so that'll be a Philadelphia. It's in pretty good conditions. There's really nice dark toning on this one, whereas the reverse is still nice and copper-like. And again, looking at the age, 100 years old, very, very crisp. That is a nice one. I might have to look at my own collection and see if this is a better one than I've got. I think it might be, actually. And then I had, on the other end of the scale, two 1958s. I think they're both a D. Yeah. So they're the last year this design was issued, the wheat cent. And again, just as good a condition as the 1925. The obverse slightly better, obviously, because it's had less wear time, but still nostalgic. And then we had a couple slap bang in the middle for 1934. Apart from that, everything else that was in that pile was 1940s, sort of 1940 through to 45, couple of 49s, and a handful of mid or late 50s. So nothing else there. But again, I'm going to go through these off camera later on, double check them with my own collection, and see if they're worthwhile doing a swap out and going from there. Either way, I suspect these, the 1934s and that 1925, I'll put into a flip, into a little cardboard case. So these are the ones that I use. Which ones have we got there? Yeah, there you go. So one of these per coin. They go inside, you write on the front, they go inside, you fold them over, and then you can handle them to your heart's content. Now, I've been using these for quite some time. That's the name of the maker. As you can see, they're Chinese, but they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love them. In fact, I've got several boxes off camera. What's this one I've got? Yeah, that's the large ones. So things like old pennies, florins, that sort of thing, they fit in there just. So you can get different sizes. That one's a 40mm, and the smaller ones I've got are 26.5. But yeah, I've got these off of Amazon. Been using them for a couple of years now. Get through probably a couple of boxes every couple of months. Just depends how good the World Coin hunts have been. Now, if you look through my video descriptions, you'll see that I've recently become an Amazon affiliate. So I've listed these as things that I use, that I buy on a regular basis off of Amazon from this particular supplier. So I rate them as good enough for the level of collecting that I do, which isn't exactly professional, but it does the trick for what I want. They are really, really good little card holders. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I'm just an affiliate, which means if you click the link in the description and you go through and purchase a box of these, you actually get two. I think it's about a tenner for 2 boxes, and you get 50 per box. So it's 100 for each one. Yeah, I get some sort of very small percentage, 2 or 3% of the sale. And if these are, say, a fiver, then I get 2% or 3% of a fiver. It's not groundbreaking, but it will go towards, hopefully in the future, treating us to a few more coins, whether it be old American, other European, or even some old British stuff. Something we can put onto the channel and we can all enjoy. Anyway, that is it for now. Wasn't an overly successful, I'm not going to call it a hunt, even though it was, search through for wheat pennies. I'd say what we've found is probably a 1/7 of the whole bag. So it's a very small amount, but it's worthwhile because at some point these are going to be more collectible and they'll be good for doing swapses for doubles. If I can get a year run going out of these as well, even better still. That would make it even more appealing to anybody down the line that I try to sell them to. Anyway, hopefully this quick video was different. Like I say, it's just me finding an old bag of wheat pennies in the bottom of a drawer that I thought I'd gone through several years ago. But if you enjoyed the video, please consider that like, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you're into these sorts of coins as well, let me know. Have you got one of the 1943 steel pennies? I know I've got one. I'd like to get hold of a couple more because the one I've got isn't in very good condition. But yeah, maybe hit the subscribe button, hit that share button as well. Get me out there to all the other collectors. It'd be a big, big help to myself and the channel. Anyway, in the meantime, that's it from me, folks. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Cheers all.